Inshallah, in today's sermon, we will be focusing on one of the hadith of the Noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a hadith transmitted by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim. In that noble hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that إنما الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. إنما الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. In this noble hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that the strong person, that is one who is really a strong person, or can be considered a strong person, he said, is the one who can control himself while angry. That is one who can restrain himself instead of anger. You know, it was a scenario when Prophet was with his companions, and then he was asking them, whom do you think is a strong person, maybe a fighter amongst you? Then they said that someone whom nobody can beat or can wrestle. Then he says, ليس الشديد بالسرعة. He said, you know, being a strong person is not by being able to beat this person and beat that person. It is being able to wrestle, you know, people. Then he said, إنما الشديد, the brother, a strong person, is the one who can control himself while angry, or who can restrain himself while in that state. If you look at many wise sayings, even apart from the teachings of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, like in Hausa, there's an adage that says, when they happily say Yadabalute, that is, one who is patient can cook a stone. That is, if one is patient, he cooks a stone. Meaning patience enables you or guides you to be able to what? Do what seems to be impossible. Patience assists you in taking decisions that people can't imagine. And coming to any language, you have the same thing. Like even in the Bible, you know, in Proverbs 16, verse 32, you know, there is a saying that what it teaches what? That one who is slow in anger is better than a warrior. And one who can control himself or control his temper is better than one who captures a city. So it is better to be patient than being a warrior. It is better to be able to control one's temper than being able to capture a city. And ability to control your temper is very, very key to taking appropriate decision, making, you know, or taking a decision or taking step that brings a positive result. While inability to control one's temper leads one to taking some unexpected and negative, decisions. So, my brothers and sisters, indeed, in whatever state we find ourselves, no matter the difficulty, we need to learn to be what? Be able to control our temper. A Sahaba came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time. He said to him, "Oh, you the Messenger of Allah, awsini, advice, counsel." And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam just gave him a short answer that can solve his problem beyond his imagination. Say, "La tabki, don't be angry." Then he also repeated the question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam repeated the same answer. So if we look at our state, generally, part of our problems result from what? Inability to control our anger. Sometimes when you drive outside, most of the traffic comes from what? Impatience. It comes from anger. Sometimes a vehicle is ahead of you. That vehicle, yes, you feel he is blocking you, but you don't see what is ahead of him. So he's the one seeing his front. But because you want him to give you way to pass, you begin to what? Horn. You horn, he didn't give you space, then you want to find a space by force. At the end of the day, what happens? You block him, you block yourself, you block others. Why? Because your anger makes you not to calculate some of the decisions or some of the actions you are taking. So no matter the situation, like I said, we have challenges, and it's part of life. But no matter the challenge that faces you, try as much as you can to control yourself, to control your anger. Because your inability to control your anger, in most cases, actions taken while angry are usually regrettable. Because in most cases, your anger gets to certain level. Sometimes you may be acting, thinking you are doing the right thing while you're actually doing the wrong thing. Let us look at how we address our leaders. You see, sometimes they do things, we think we are offended by what they do. Because we are angry, sometimes we will not sit down to ask ourselves whether they are taking the right step or taking the wrong step. Because you are angry, so that's all, you just what? React. Sometimes we abuse them. You see, because you are angry, you have forgotten that that person you are talking to is what? Your father's age. That person you are talking to, he is your leader. Or as a Muslim, if your father make mistake and you want to correct your father, then you don't what? Abuse your father. There is difference between correcting your father and abusing your father. When your leader make mistake, yes, you can guide your leader, you can advise your leader, but you don't abuse your leader. But you see, because of your state of anger, and you allow it to take control of you, it makes you to abuse your leader, and you interpreting the abuse as what? As correction. Or maybe your mother, or your elder brother. So this hadith can go a long way in solving most of our problems if we are to put it into practice. Whether as a driver on the street, as a businessman in the market, or sometimes somebody asks you what is the price of, so maybe you ask somebody what is the price of this, what do you think should be 10,000. He told you 15,000, and you say, are you an armed robber? So you see, because you got upset with what the price he gave you, it made you to call him what you are not supposed to call him. So you can still demand for what? Reduction in price without necessarily what? Hurting him or abusing him. Like the hadith we read in the last khutbah, that is last week Friday, where the Prophet is saying that Rahimallahu, Rahimallahu, after Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala be merciful to him, may Allah's mercy be with him. Samhan idha ba'a, who is lenient when he sells. This is when he's selling things out. وَإِذَا اشْتَرَى, and when he buys. وَإِذَا اقْتَضَى, and when he seeks or demands for maybe return, or maybe somebody owing him is asking the person to return his money. So Islam teaches you leniency at what? At whatever level. So somebody, you come to the market, you want to buy something or you want to sell something, you should always what? Be decent in your utterances. So I used to say to my brothers and sisters, in life, only one thing controls you and saves you. But any other thing, if it controls you, it destroys you. Only one thing and nothing beyond that, and that is Allah. Only Allah controls you absolutely, and He never destroys you. Because He is the only person who never needs you. So when He is taking any decision relating to you, He is taking decision for your own good, not for His own benefit. But any other person on the surface of the earth, or any other thing on the surface of the earth, if it controls you absolutely, it destroys you. And that is why you have people who have taken prophets or messengers as what? As God. Because they allowed the law they have for those prophets to what? To control their action. Not Allah controlling their action. Or the law they have for a particular scholar makes them to want to elevate this scholar above his status. No scholar is infallible. No scholar doesn't make mistake, because there is absolutely no human being on the surface of the earth that is 100% clean. And any scholar is what? He's a human being. So that's why, yes, even if you want to follow a scholar, yes, you follow him in what is right and what? Pray for Allah to guide him where he is what? Strong. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, please, this hadith, let's make it part and parcel of our life. It will solve our community problem, marital problem, relationship, whatever problem you will have. You need to be in any situation you find yourself, you need to learn to control your anger. It makes you strong in that situation. It makes you take appropriate decisions. And the Prophet, he never talks out of his own volition. He never takes talks out of his own word. When he's teaching us, he talks based on what? Allah's revelation, Allah's guidance. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله العظيم الجليل لي ولكم ولسائر من كل ذنب وخطيئة فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. Brothers indeed, there is a hadith relating to this, transmitted also by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. In that hadith, you have to combine, two people or companions of Prophet one time, having a kind of misunderstanding, fighting themselves or abusing themselves. Then one of them was extremely angered, his eyes red, and then his cheek widening. Then the Prophet said to some other companions who were close to him that time that yes, I know something, that if that Sahaba or that person will say what is disturbing him, that is that anger that with him would have what? Gone down. Then you should say what? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So we need to work on our anger collectively for us to be able to solve problems around us. And that's why in a hadith we can say to us that إِذَا غَضِبَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَسْكُتْ. He said if one of you is angry, you should what? You should keep silent. إِذَا غَضِبَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَسْكُتْ. If one of you is angry, he should keep silent. So anywhere you find yourself as a Muslim, control yourself. Like I said, I usually give example with the road. Yes, we may think we are just driving. Anywhere can take you to Jannah and can take you to hell. So you don't have to pick your car. I was talking to one of my brothers sometime back. I said, okay, sometimes check and see. You may be driving. Before you get to your destination, you've abused 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Why? Because you get angry. People won't stop doing what will anger you. So now the trouble is not them. It's who? It's what? It's yourself. I usually say to us from time to time, your happiness or your sadness mostly lies in your own hands. It's not determined in most cases by what happens. It is in most cases determined by your interpretation of the situation, not the situation itself. You can lose something and be happy, and you can gain something and be happy. You can lose something and be sad, and you can gain something and be sad. Why is it not getting or losing that determines that? Because it is how you interpret it that determines how you feel. So if you pick your car and hit the road, you should be able to drive from here to Agege without pressing your horn. I know it sounds strange to many of us. You should be able to drive from here to Agege or from here to VI without pressing your horn. Sometimes even moving with somebody in the car alone can tell you whether he's a patient person or not. When you horn too much, it's a sign that you are impatient. So those of us who drive, so take this as one of the tests. If you horn too much when you drive, it's a sign of what? Impatient. Because sometimes, if the person ahead of you, you horn, you didn't horn, he will not do what you want him to. He is supposed to move when he feels it's safe for him. So he will not give way because you are behind him. Or you want to pass, and somebody is turning, you see him turning, then you be patient, let him finish turning. The road belongs to both of you, not for you alone. You are approaching a junction. What do? Slow down. So don't think the road belongs to you alone, that because you are coming, you have to pass. But because you feel you have to pass, so when you see him coming, what do? You will horn. Why? Because you feel you're supposed to move. By that, sometimes you endanger your life, because maybe you don't know you break a speed. Yes, you are claiming right for somebody who does not have control of the vehicle. So patience makes you to see things wider than people's imagination. You can easily interpret things around yourself. And you can be able to bear so many things. And ultimately, with your Creator. Because without that patience, without being able to control yourself, even with Allah, you will miss so many things. So take for example, like in the field of da'wah, I used to say to people, if you are not patient, you can do da'wah. Yes, maybe you come to preach to somebody, they abuse you. So what's the big thing? They abuse somebody better than you. You said you took to the path of the Prophet. They abused him, they fought him, they chased him out of the town. And you now, they are only abusing you, you couldn't take it. They are abusing you, abuse back. So elders talk to you, you disrespect them. Because you say he upset you. Or your leader upsets you, and you what? You abuse him. Then you forget the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you listen and obey in what you like and what you dislike. So long as he did not command you with what? Disobedience to Allah Ta'ala. Or as a wife, is when you can control your patience, your anger, your problem with your husband will be less. Or even as a husband, if you are able to control your patience, your problem at home will be less. So may Allah Ta'ala bless us with the ability to be able to control our temper. Both, either as leaders or as what? As subjects, as parents or as what? Children. In whatever relationship. And may Allah Ta'ala, what we will do to end the anger of Allah Ta'ala, may Allah Ta'ala save us from it. And what we will do to end the favor of Allah Ta'ala, may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us. And like we say, when we say Allah asks us to do this, always remember, it is for your own benefit. Allah never asks you to do something for His own benefit. If He asks you to control your anger, He is asking you to control your anger for your own safety, for your own progress, for your own success, but not for His own. He said, "Ma uridu minhum min rizqin, wa ma uridu an yut'imun." I don't need sustenance from wealth from them, and neither do I need what? Need them to feed me. So Allah doesn't need us with anything, because you don't add anything to Him, and you don't reduce anything from Him. What He is called before you come into existence, that is the same thing we call Him up till now. He is Allah, and He has never changed from being what? From being Allah. No promotion, no demotion, because He is who He is. He is already complete. And may Allah Ta'ala make us good Muslims, and whatever we will do to make our country better, to make our communities better, to make our nation better, to make our organizations better, may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us. And what we will do to harm our nation, to harm our relationship, to harm our communities, to harm our organizations, Allah Ta'ala save us from it. And then whatever challenge that is facing each and every one of us, Allah Ta'ala save us out of it. And then whatever good that we wish, Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us. Our children, Allah Ta'ala make them source of joy for us in this world and the hereafter. Our parents, Allah Ta'ala make them source of blessing for us in this world and the hereafter. Those who are alive, Allah Ta'ala preserve them in sound health and in blessing. And those who have gone, Allah Ta'ala will give them granted Jannah. And all those who are helping the deen, supporting the deen in whatever means, Allah Ta'ala continue to strengthen them. May Allah Ta'ala forgive their shortcomings, and may Allah Ta'ala put them on the inheritance of the Jannah. May Allah Ta'ala guide our leaders to be able to take decisions that will save us out of the challenges we are facing in the country and globally, and the world at large. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم لا تدع في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا كربا إلا نفسته، ولا دينا إلا قضيته، ولا عصيرا إلا يسرته، ولا عدوا إلا خذلته، ولا مبتلا إلا عافيته، ولا ميتا إلا رحمته، ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاة إلا عنتنا على قضائها وفتحها برحمتك أرحم الراحمين. اللهم بعلمك الضيف وقدرتك على الخلق حينما علمتك يا خيرا لنا، وتوفنا إذا علمت وفاة خيرا لنا. اللهم إنا نسألك خشيتك في الغيب والشهادة، ونسألك كلمة الحق في الرضا والغضب، ونسألك القصد في الغنى والفقر، ونسألك نعيما لا ينفد، ونسألك قرة عين لا تنقطع، ونسألك الرضا بعد القضاء، ونسألك فرد العيش بعد الموت، ونسألك لذة النظر إلى وجهك إلى لقائك بغير ضرام مستقلة. اللهم زينا بزينة الإيمان واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم زينا بزينة الإيمان واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم يسر لنا أمورنا، يسر لنا أمورنا، واستر عوراتنا، واستر عوراتنا، واستر عوراتنا، وآمن روعاتنا، وآمن روعاتنا، وآمن روعاتنا، وكن من الصالحين. عباد الله قوموا إلى صلاتكم.